you after laughter comes tears. You should have known. Yeah, you should have known better. Yeah, you're dealing with the real one. You should have known better. Yeah, I said you're dealing with the real one. Should have known better. Yeah, you're dealing with the real one. Yeah, you should have known better. Let me talk to this one. Yo, hey, say this is for the fraudulent, the fakers and the posers playing make-believe, but only they know it. Yeah, you, the ones who talk a lot, but ain't really saying nothing. Need the light all on they spot to feel hot. Yeah, you, that's like my sister, that's my best friend for real. Word to everything, there's nothing there to feel. Yeah, your vibes say different. See, you ain't really innocent. Now I'ma let it slide, but you should be careful what's real. I'm too experienced for the games, too grown to be playing, trying to figure things out, son. I'm here planting seeds, so if your soil ain't right, please don't block the light and let bigger things sprout. So if you don't believe it when you see it, don't touch it, just leave it for the one who got the best to bring out. Now I ain't got the time to be kidding, forgiving you for forgetting what you've been missing. I'm the illest thing out, and that's real. Yeah, you should have known better. Yeah, you're dealing with the real one. You should have known better.
You know I love music, and every time I hear something hot, it makes me want to move. It makes me want to have fun. But it's something about this joint right here. This joint right here, it makes me want to, let it go. Can't let this thing called love get away from you.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show, Woman Wednesday. The number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. The Los Angeles Lakers are trading D'Angelo Russell and Timothy Mozgov to the Brooklyn Nets for Brook Lopez and the 27th overall pick in Thursday's NBA draft. Sources are saying Russell is set to earn $5.6 million next season. Mozgov is entering the second year of a 4-year, $64 million contract. Brooks Lopez, though, 29 years of age, was a standout last year for the Nets as he averaged 20.5 points, 5.4 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and 1.7 blocks. Can you give Brooks Lopez a round of applause? Here's another thing about this kid, man. He also became a threat from three-point range as he attempted 387 shots from behind the mark, behind the line, and made 34.6% of them. You know, I don't pay that much attention to the darn New Jersey Nets to know that Brooks Lopez added a three-point shot to his game. Oh, maybe that's why Dwight Howard wanted to start shooting threes. He wanted to be like Brooks Lopez. Let me stop just a second here. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I've been doing this a long time. Most of y'all know this. I've been doing this a long time. Dwight Howard talking about he's working on three-pointers, on shooting three-pointers, may have been one of the dumbest things that I have ever heard from an athlete in 15 years of doing this job. There's a very good possibility that Travis Schlenk, the new GM of the Atlanta Hawks, heard that comment and instantly got on the phone. Right. He heard Dwight Howard say that he was going to, start shooting three-pointers this year. He was going to work on his three-point shooting this summer in the offseason. He probably, talking about Travis Schlenk, at that second when he heard that soundbite, he probably immediately jumped on the phone and tried to work out a deal for this cat. Anyway, I digress. Lopez enters into the final season of his contract of July 2015, which will pay him $22.64 million next season. So here's the thing about it. This could be one of those situations where he's kind of like a rental player for a one-year deal, and then he opts out and, becomes a free agent or whatever. But the thing is, the Lakers have his rights. So they'll be able to pay him more than anybody else. And so if some of these other things go down with the Lakers, like Paul George, and they get Lonzo Ball, and it is in L.A., chances are and he's going to be the starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers, chances are that they can probably convince him, or they'll have the upper hand on getting him to re-sign. Okay, but that's a small risk. Lopez's expiring contracts and Mozgov's moves to Brooklyn gives the Lakers close to $60 million in significant cap room next summer. Just talked about that a little bit. Indiana Pacers superstar Paul George already has indicated he wants to play in L.A. After free agency. The Lakers and Pacers already have trade discussions going on right now to try to make that deal even before the draft tomorrow night. I tell you what, here's the thing about it, man. Y'all listen to the show. Once again, most of y'all listen to the show already. We've been doing this for over 2.5 years. The day that D'Angelo Russell pulled that mess where he had Swaggy P, talking about how he cuts out on his old lady, Iggy Azalea, whatever, man, I knew there was an uphill battle for this kid going forward because he was so young and that was so treacherous. Like, he broke man law number one and what he did. So it's not so much the kid can't play. He obviously can play. He had a much better second year than he did the first year. He was the first pick in the draft for the Lakers for a reason. The kid can play. And he may go to Brooklyn and turn that team around. They might, become one of the premier teams in the NBA. Chances are, though, that won't happen. And the problem is because this kid has shown a lack of leadership that we keep hearing about. The Lakers organization, you remember when Byron Scott had him the first year, his rookie year in the NBA? Byron Scott didn't come out and straight say it, but he kind of intimated in some commentary that he had throughout that year that D'Angelo Russell was childish. And he did a bunch of silly, childish, stupid things that you can't have as being a leader. And if you're the point guard of an NBA team, you have to be a leader. They're kind of synonymous, being a leader and being a point guard. And so this guy had this childish attitude, and then you top it with what he did with this whole Swaggy P thing. I mean, he was a leper. Like, this guy, I can imagine, and I don't know to what degree it was. Maybe it wasn't even that big, but I do think that it probably, permeated this locker room to a degree. Nobody wants to be around a cat like that did something like that what he did to Swaggy P. Nobody wants to be around a guy like that. You may have to work with him. You may be a professional, and you work with people a lot of times that you don't particularly like or that you want to go hang out with. Yeah, if you're a professional, you make it work. But really, that was kind of like, something that kind of, I think probably was a problem in the locker room. I really do believe that. And so they let him go. And then you had the conversation about how would him and Lonzo Ball work together. If Lonzo Ball comes, he's a great point guard. And so the thought was that D'Angelo would move to the number 2 position or whatever, the shooting guard position, which is actually his more the position that he's more familiar with in playing high school ball and then in college and whatnot. So I think it's a great move. I think it's a great move. It frees up a lot of money once again for the Los Angeles Lakers to try to do some other things and accumulating these picks. They're going to try to package together these picks. I think it's 27 and the 28th pick to try to get Paul George. And so obviously that's the big end game in this as well. So if you're a Laker fan, like myself, shut up. If you're a Laker fan, man, if you're a fan of the NBA, if you think that it's good for the premier team or one of the premier teams to be relevant, this is a good thing. You cooking with Crisco. You got rid of a problem. It's kind of like addition by subtraction. You got rid of a leper in the locker room, a cancer in the locker room to a degree, and you're going to bring in a young, fresh talent in Lonzo Ball. You're hoping that Brandon Ingram develops a little bit more. Maybe you get Paul George to play the 3. You might have to move Julius Randle at the 4. That's one of the names I keep hearing about in a deal to try to get Paul George. So you got Larry Nance Jr., who I absolutely love his game. And then now you got Brooks Lopez. The cat shot 35% from three-point land last year, averaged 20 points. He's still got a couple of years left on him. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers and Magic Johnson, you are cooking with Crisco. Love it. You cooking with Crisco. It's as simple as that. You are cooking with Crisco. As a matter of fact, I probably need to explain that phrase because a lot of young people have no idea what Crisco is. Crisco is like oil, cooking oil. And they used to have this commercial, this campaign back in the day talking about cooking with Crisco. But anyway, man, I like the moves. I absolutely love the moves. I had been saying for a long time. As a matter of fact, when the whole thing went down with D'Angelo Russell and Swaggy P, where he recorded Swaggy P talking about him messing with all these other women and let Iggy Azalea, his girlfriend at the time, know about it, I thought that they had to move him then. And maybe they did try to move him and they couldn't do it. And they came back and they saw if it tried, they continued to see if it could work, if he could coexist in this locker room with this team. And maybe they came to the point, Magic Johnson came around and started observing what was going on with the team and what people were telling him, and they felt like they had to move him. They tried to make it work, but it didn't work. It didn't work. And so I think it's a great move, man. They're going to go ahead and they're going to draft this Lonzo Ball kid tomorrow, man. And then the Lakers, they working with something, man. What are your thoughts? 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com from Al Thompson in the chat room on Spreaker.com. He says he didn't fit with Coach Bud's system anyway. Got to have mid-range game and be able to handle the ball, i.e. Horford, Aldridge, Duncan, Gasol. Very good point. That's a very good point, Al Thompson. And our lightweight kind of mentioned it earlier about Coach Bud and how, he wants his team to flow. And coming up under Greg Popovich and the type of players that they were successful, a lot of European influence with Manu Ginobili and guys like that, Gasol, Pau Gasol, guys that can pass the basketball, spacing on the floor and whatnot. And you're right, the guys that you just mentioned are what Coach Bud wants. And Dwight Howard just didn't fit that. Man. And you bring in the Bellinelli kid, and that's, obviously being a European player, he can do all of those things. He's not a guy that you're going to build around. Obviously, he's a little bit older. He's like 32 years old as well. But still, you just got rid of the big thing about the Dwight deal is you don't have to pay Dwight Howard $50 million. Really, everything that I've said about this deal for the Hawks and letting Dwight Howard go, yes, you can call up and you can kind of make an argument that Dwight Howard and the NBA is still a valuable piece. Yes, you can do that. I am acknowledging that. But at the end of our conversation, when you mention that, I'm going to say to you, do you really want to pay Dwight Howard $50 million for the next 2 years? And I even think the staunchest of Dwight Howard fans, I think Dwight Howard's cousins, first cousins, uncles, aunties, if you ask them that question, I think most of them would say no. It's as simple as that. Everything else is secondary. Everything else in this conversation about Dwight Howard is secondary. The number one thing to ask yourself is, are you comfortable with giving Dwight Howard, based on what you've seen out of the last 3-4 years, giving him $50 million for the next 2 years? Hell to the no. When we get back from the break, all I'm going to do is read your messages in the chat room on Spreaker.com. This is the Doug Stewart Show.
And beat innocent people for no reason. This is what we have to look forward to all over the place. Look how quick, within a matter of days, they were able to go into a martial law status here in Ferguson.
I was a victim a long time ago. When Sneaker Pete used to roam the fold. I seen it then and as a kid, and now my kids see it. We need to break them down to bacon bits, them dirty peas. Killing us off like we cattle at the slaughterhouse. Come in the house is all I heard from my mama's mouth. I stayed out, me and my crew were often singled out. Late nights of green smoking at my partner house. We walked the streets trying to catch a little jug. Popo tripping got me laying on this hot hood. I stuffed my bum between the seats of his patrol car. And all